Has it ever struck you as strange that some people always get what they want? They are not geniuses, nor are they millionaires, but for some reason, they are consistently one step ahead. They seize opportunities that you miss. Their decisions seem separate, even bizarre, but they always work out. And while you are still trying to figure out what happened, they are already at the very top. So what is it they know that you don't? It's time to open your eyes. The difference between the weak and the significant is not in money or talent. It is in the knowledge of how power is structured. Most people believe that to succeed, you need to be kind, work hard, and wait to be noticed. That is why most people lose. While you are playing by fair rules, others are playing a different game. Power originates in the mind. Smart people understand. The world is governed by ignored rules, laws. These are not things they teach you in school. These are principles that have controlled people for thousands of years. They divide the world into those who command and those who obey. Ordinary people play openly. Smart people, that's my strategy. I am not saying you need to be evil. But know this. If you don't understand these laws, they will be used against you. And you will think it was just bad luck, when in reality, you simply didn't see how the game was being played. 500 years ago, Niccolo Machiavelli cracked this code. He understood that power is not an accident. It is a system that obeys laws. And those who know them manage everything. Today, I will give you 7 hard and fast rules used by those who refuse to lose. These are not mere tips, but cold, tested schematics. Once you learn them, you will see the world differently. Watch the entire video. Skip one law, and you are left to lose. Write in the comments, "I know the hidden rules." Let's begin. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever been in a room where 2 people said the exact same thing? Identical words, identical phrases. They both expressed the same idea, the same thought. But when the first person spoke, it was just noise. He tried, he pleaded, he raised his voice. He spent his energy trying to get attention, but all he got back was polite but empty nodding. His words flew into the void like smoke. No one remembered them. No one changed their minds. His words were empty. They carried no weight. They led to no real, tangible changes. But then there was the second person. He might speak softly. He might be silent most of the time. He stands to the side, observing like a monument while others fuss, while others burn their energy and reveal their secrets. He waits for the perfect moment. But when he finally utters just one phrase, the whole room seems to fall silent. Everyone listens. All eyes are focused only on him. The entire meeting, the entire conversation dynamic, the whole atmosphere, everything changes. People change their minds. They revise their plans based on his single sentence. You don't just hear what he is saying, you feel the weight of his word. His word is law, instantly changing reality. What is the secret here? Most people think it's just luck, or that this person holds a special position. But it's not magic. It's not an innate talent given only to the chosen few. And it's not a coincidence. It's a system and a strategy. It's a precise, meticulously planned approach to communication and to life itself. Many people mistakenly believe that to influence, you have to be the loudest, you have to have the highest title. Or you have to know the most facts and be able to win every argument. This is a fundamental error. They waste all their precious energy trying to convince others, trying to prove they are right, instead of focusing on building authority. They play a game where you have to win debates, but the true masters of this game don't even participate in those meaningless quarrels. They simply establish such a level of authority, such an internal and external presence, that their word automatically becomes undisputed truth. They don't beg for respect. It's simply impossible not to respect them because their power is felt. We are not going to talk about which words to choose today. That is superficial. We are going to talk about who you must become, about your inner architecture, about your life philosophy, so that any word you say becomes the most important and the heaviest in any room, in any meeting. We will break down 7 very simple yet incredibly powerful strategic rules that always work. These rules are used by those who always control the situation, at work, in family life, in friendships, in business. This knowledge is not for those seeking easy approval. This knowledge is for those who are ready to stop being merely spectators, merely participants in someone else's game, and become the force that makes decisions, shapes outcomes, and alters the reality around them. The first and perhaps the most crucial secret instantly increases your weight. Remember this simple rule: your word is currency. And like any currency, the more you spend it thoughtlessly, the faster it depreciates, the less it is worth. If you constantly give away your thoughts, your ideas, and your opinions on every topic, they become cheap, like flyers no one reads. We call this the principle of the scarce word. Look around you. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. They feel that if they don't speak, they won't exist. They'll be forgotten. They'll be ignored. So they start talking just to fill the air. They repeat what others have already said, just in different words. They constantly voice their opinion on every issue, even if they know nothing about it. They desperately want to be noticed, but this is a fatal mistake. A person who constantly talks quickly turns into background noise. They become predictable. Everyone understands they just crave attention. And ultimately, they are simply ignored. Their word loses all its power and drowns in the general flood of useless opinions. The person who uses the principle of the scarce word does the exact opposite. They use silence as a powerful strategic tool. They don't just sit there doing nothing. No, they become an active observer. They actively gather data, studying what everyone values, what they fear, tracking body language, and searching for emotional vulnerabilities and true motives. They give others enough time to expose and discredit themselves. Let us recall the philosophy of power. Machiavelli insisted on this point. A prince must be very careful never to let a word escape his lips that is not filled with the 5 qualities mentioned above: mercy, loyalty, humanity, integrity, and piety. What does this mean for us in simple language? It means that every word you say must be like gold, thought out and full of dignity. If you talk too much and too often, you physically cannot ensure that every word carries weight and prudence. Excessive speech inevitably leads to mistakes, emotional slip-ups, contradictions, and ultimately loss of respect. Your strength lies in concentrating your influence into one single decisive moment. This principle of the scarce word requires real patience, and patience, understand, is not passivity. It is active waiting. It is conscious mental work. You wait for the perfect, irreversible moment. Imagine a work meeting. A difficult problem arises, and the arguing starts. Everyone jumps into it, shouting over each other to capture the first minute of airtime. You, on the contrary, remain silent. You become the observer and the judge. You let everyone present their arguments, let them burn through their emotions. You listen and remember, collecting data on the weaknesses and true goals of everyone. And only when the chaos subsides, when it becomes clear to everyone that there is no solution, when people are exhausted from their own noise and desperately need a voice of reason, that is when you make your move. Your single final phrase, spoken in that ensuing tense silence, will carry 10 times more weight than all their 20 minutes of arguing combined. Why? Because it is not a reaction. It is a conclusion based on a cold assessment of all the data, and most importantly, it provides the solution that everyone needed but no one else could offer. You appear to be the smartest and most powerful person in the room. In everyday conversation, this is expressed through a strategic pause. When asked for your opinion, do not answer instantly as if your response is worthless. Take a pause of 2 or 3 seconds. Maintain a calm expression and confident eye contact. This pause, without a single word, tells the listener, "I am thinking. My answer will be important, so wait and prepare to listen." Your interlocutor will instinctively focus on you and sense the importance of your words. Never speak just to fill the silence. Speak only when you genuinely need to change the direction of movement, to create a new vector. Make your speech an event that everyone anticipates. In a world where everyone is shouting, your silence is your most powerful weapon, and your word is the law that ends the chaos. Learn to be silent. The second secret that instantly increases the weight of your word is called calculated opacity. This rule goes completely against what is currently popular in a world that demands total transparency and openness from you. In the modern world, especially on social media, people feel they are obliged to tell everything about themselves. They reveal their plans, their fears, and their doubts. They explain every step, every motive. They think this is honesty. But in reality, it is a strategic weakness. When you are open, you are predictable. And if you are predictable, you are very easy to control. You hand over the keys to your weak spots yourself. Understand this simple fact. When people only know half the story about you, they start filling in the blanks with their own imagination. And this fantasy they create for themselves will always be stronger and more magnificent than the boring, detailed reality. A person who has revealed everything about themselves loses their mystery and their allure. There is nothing left to talk about. They become forgettable. They are uninteresting. The great strategist Machiavelli knew exactly how to manage perception, and he insisted on it, advising the ruler. Everyone sees what you appear to be, but few feel what you really are. And those few dare not oppose the opinion of the many who have the majesty of the state to back them up. What does this mean? Your word becomes heavy and important because it comes from a person whose depth is unknown. You are a mystery that is fascinating to solve. You are a force that is dangerous to ignore because no one knows what cards, what resources, or what plans you hold in reserve. Calculated opaqueness is not lying. It is not deception. It is simply smart management of information about yourself. You, consciously, choose what, to whom, and when you will speak. You control the volume of information about yourself that you release into the world. No one can control you if you don't give them a complete map of your mind. Let's look at practice. When discussing future plans, never lay out your entire plan at once. If asked about your long-term goals, do not give a full report with all the steps, difficulties, and doubts. If you talk about your fears, it gives critics many hooks to latch onto. They will criticize your ideas while they are still raw. Instead of saying, "I'm going to start my own business, but I'm afraid I won't handle the taxes, I won't have enough money, and I don't know how to get the first client," use a hint of greatness veiled in intrigue. Say, "I am currently laying the foundation for a project that I believe will completely change the rules of the game in this industry. This is a strategic decision that requires full concentration. I will reveal all the details when the plan is irreversible, and you will see the finished result, not the process of my doubting." And after this phrase, be sure to change the subject. Do not give them a chance to ask clarifying questions and penetrate your true motives. Use gaps in the story. When you share a success, do not narrate the entire chain of events. Do not reveal your best tricks and personal sacrifices. Leave out the how and why, the parts concerning your secret methodology or internal struggle. Let people guess how you achieved it. Let them attribute more power and talent to you than you actually exerted. Always keep a small secret. At any given moment, you should have one or two things you never discuss with most people. This could be your personal major project, your financial planning method, or even your opinion on some important but non-critical matter in a conversation. This creates an aura around you that is impossible to fully decipher. Your incomplete openness forces people to think about you more than about others. What is the result? You create curiosity. Curiosity breeds interest. Interest leads to respect, and respect is a direct path to influence. Your word becomes very heavy because it comes from a controlled, hidden force, from a person who is not obligated to report to anyone. People fill in the gaps in your story with their fantasies, and you become stronger in their eyes. Never spend all your informational currency at once. Always keep a reserve. This is perhaps the most powerful secret that grants you true internal freedom. We call it the threat of detachment. Many people misunderstand this. They think detachment means being cold, cynical, or feeling nothing at all. That is false. Detachment means freedom. You become free from the fear of loss. You are not dependent on others' opinions, and you are not dependent on external events that might collapse. Most people are governed by their attachments, and this makes them weak and predictable. This is their greatest vulnerability. They are afraid of losing their job, so they tolerate poor treatment and don't ask for a raise. They are afraid of losing a relationship, so they agree to compromises that destroy their inner principles and self-respect. They are afraid of losing approval, so they say what is expected of them, not what needs to be said. The fear of losing something makes you very weak. Freedom from that fear makes you genuinely strong. Machiavelli was not sentimental. He understood power. He wrote, "Since it is difficult to combine love and fear, if you have to choose, it is far safer to be feared than loved." What does the word feared mean for us in this context? It means that you cannot be controlled because you are not attached to the things they can take away from you. Your detachment creates an aura around you that cannot be broken by blackmail. You are an independent island. The threat of detachment is not a literal threat. It is simply your internal state that projects absolute strength. Let's look at negotiations. Whose side has more power? The side that desperately needs this deal, has invested everything and cannot afford it to fail? Or the side that wants the deal but has other options and is absolutely prepared to calmly stand up and walk away if the terms are not met? Naturally, the side ready to walk away. Why? Because they are not attached to the outcome of this specific deal. They are only attached to their own high standards. Your word. When you speak and you are not afraid of being rejected, fired, or causing offense, your word sounds truthful and final. It sounds like a decision, like a verdict, not a plea or an attempt to please. Detachment gives you clarity. When your brain is not occupied with the fear of loss, you can see the situation as it truly is. You make the best, most rational decisions that are not clouded by fear or emotion. How to practice this? Create an exit point. In any situation, at work, in a relationship, in a project, always know exactly when you will stand up and leave. If the conditions drop below this exit point, you simply walk away, not to blackmail, but to maintain your self-respect and standards. Alternative plan, Plan B. Always have a backup option in your mind. If you know you can find another job, if you know you can start another project, the fear of loss disappears. Your self-confidence grows and everyone around you feels it. Shift focus from fear to value. When you feel fear, immediately switch the question, what will I gain if I walk away and maintain my integrity? You will gain freedom, time, self-respect, and the opportunity to find something better. This is the paradox. The less you depend on something, the more likely you are to get it. Your word becomes weighty because people sense you are not here because you need this to survive, but because it is your conscious choice, and you cannot be controlled by the threat of taking something away. The fourth secret is called the mirror of deep understanding. This is the fastest route to trust and authority because it allows you to penetrate the consciousness of another person. How do people usually try to gain influence? They start talking about themselves, about their brilliant ideas, their needs, and their solutions. They focus on broadcasting information. This is I communication, and it immediately makes the listener resist. Their brain says, "I'm not interested in this, he's only talking about himself." True influence is gained only through the other person. Your word will have no weight until you can breach their armor. And the strongest armor is the feeling that you are not understood, that you are being treated superficially. Remember that everyone you speak with is silently asking you 3 questions that deeply concern them. 1. Do you see me? 2. Do you understand me? 3. Do you value what I am saying? Your word will gain weight only when you convincingly answer yes to all 3. And the best way to do this is the echo technique. Machiavelli knew the importance of being profound. He wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. For everybody can see, but few can come at the essence. Most people only see the eye, the surface, but you, as the master, must strive to come at the essence. You must show that you see their true desire and hidden pain, not just the words they are saying out loud." What is the echo technique in practice? It is not just repeating words. It is repeating the emotion and the hidden meaning. You listen not for the words, but for the pain that lies behind them. Let's look at a simple example from work or family. The situation. Your colleague or loved one is very angry and shouting, "I hate this job. It's all pointless. I work like a dog and there are no results. I'm just going to quit." The common mistake. Responding, "Calm down. That's nonsense. You get paid well." You ignore their emotion. The echo technique. Your move. You listen not about the job, but about pointlessness and lack of recognition. You respond, "It sounds like you don't feel that your huge contribution here is truly valued, and you are looking for a place that will give you a serious challenge and the recognition you deserve." What happened? You didn't agree that they should quit. You didn't argue with their words, but you accurately named their pain and their hidden desire to be valued and recognized. Their armor is removed. They feel understood on the deepest level. They think, "Finally, someone hears me." Machiavelli taught that to achieve a goal, you must manage people, and you can only manage those you understand. By using the echo, you become the most understanding person to them. They automatically begin to trust you. And only after this, your word, your advice, your proposal enters their mind without resistance, because you have already become an authority to them who sees right through them. Practice. When someone speaks to you, don't think about what to say in return. Think, what is truly hidden behind these words? What desire do they want to satisfy? What pain do they want to stop? First, name that pain or desire, and only then speak your decisive word. People buy not goods or ideas. They buy solutions to their problems and satisfaction for their desires. If you can accurately reflect their needs using the mirror of understanding, you become indispensable. Your word has weight only after you prove that you truly see them. The fifth secret is called choosing the battlefield, or simply put, obsession with the result. This principle is what instantly distinguishes a professional from an amateur, and a true leader from someone who just follows the crowd. If you master this secret, you will stop wasting your authority on nonsense. Most people are amateurs. They are obsessed with the process and with being right in every minor argument. They are willing to argue for hours about who said what a month ago, about a secondary fact or an insignificant detail, just to prove to everyone that they know better. They want to look like winners in the moment, even if it harms their main, long-term goal. They feed their ego. Professionals, however, are obsessed with only one thing: the result. They constantly ask themselves the same, very simple question. Does this action, this conversation, this argument, does it move me closer to my main goal, or is it just wasting my time and energy that I could use more intelligently? If the action does not lead to the result, they abandon it without regret. Machiavelli taught that to achieve a goal, you must be very flexible in your methods.
He was extremely pragmatic. The means will always be judged honorable and praised by everyone, because the vulgar are always taken by what a thing seems to be and by the outcome of a thing. And in the world, there are none but the vulgar. For us, this means that only the final result matters. Do not be attached to being right in every small argument. Your momentary correctness is not worth the loss of time and your authority. A person obsessed with the result behaves completely differently in a conflict. They practice strategic retreat. If you are drawn into an argument about who should have brought the coffee or which font is better to use in a presentation, that is, about something that does not affect the final outcome of the matter, you retreat. You do not spend your strength and your authority to win that small, foolish battle. You may even allow the opponent to win that trivial point. You don't want to win a small battle. You want to win the whole war. You save your strength and attention for the most crucial, decisive moment. They use the shield of the goal. When someone tries to draw you into an emotional conflict or an unproductive, meaningless discussion, you must immediately stop it and refocus on the matter. There is a very powerful and simple phrase for this. This phrase does not argue, but returns control to everyone present. That's an interesting point, but right now this argument is not moving us closer to state your main goal. Let's return to what truly impacts our final result. What happens when you say this phrase? You don't argue. You don't quarrel. You simply return everyone's attention to your vector, to your priorities. Your word in that moment looks like the most rational and leader-like one. You demonstrate that you are here not to fight, but to achieve a result. The practice is simple. Before opening your mouth in an argument, ask yourself, how important is this? If I win this argument, will it bring me money, respect, or freedom? If the answer is no, close your mouth and use the strategic retreat. Your word becomes weighty because you do not spend your authority on trivialities.
You save it for critical moments, for those moments where the fate of the matter is truly decided. People see that you do not react to emotions, but act strictly according to strategy. You choose your battles with a cold head, and that makes you a force that cannot be diverted from its path. The sixth secret is called visual control, or commanding the space. Remember this, your word does not start when you begin to speak. It starts the moment you enter the room and take your place. This is a very simple rule. 80% of the weight of your word is what we call the non-verbal message. It is what you convey with your body, your eyes, and your breath. If your body looks nervous, weak, or scared, even the most brilliant words will simply be ignored. Your body, like a loud amplifier, always speaks louder than your voice about your inner strength or weakness. Machiavelli knew perfectly well how important it was for a ruler to appear strong. He gave clear instructions. A prince should take care that nothing escapes his lips that is not full of the qualities mentioned: mercy, loyalty, humanity, integrity, and piety. And nothing should be read on his face of levity, effeminacy, faint-heartedness, or irresolution. What does this mean for us? You must project stability, monumentality, and unshakability. You must look like a person who controls everything, both yourself and the situation. To establish visual control and look like a person whose word is weighty, you need to manage 3 key elements: speaking speed and pauses. People who speak very quickly look hurried, as if they lack time, meaning they are not in control of the situation. When you speak slowly, with thoughtful, deliberate pauses, you create the impression that you are absolutely confident in every word and that you have infinite time. Try speaking twice as slowly as usual. This slow speech and the pauses slow down the perception of the entire room. You thereby compel others to adjust to your calm, authoritative rhythm, and not the other way around. The anchor of calm. Use deep, even breathing. Before saying something very important, take an imperceptible but full breath and exhale. This instantly calms you and makes your voice deeper and more confident. Eye contact. Avoid a darting gaze, which shows nervousness. And avoid a gaze that is too long and aggressive, which looks like a challenge or a threat. The person with weight in their word establishes firm yet calm eye contact. In conversation, hold your gaze slightly longer than most people do. During a pause, or when you are about to say the decisive phrase, hold your gaze on the key interlocutor. This look, without a single word, says, "I see you. I control this moment, and I expect to be listened to." Your eyes should be calm and relaxed. Commanding the space and posture. Never shrink or slouch. A posture of submission is a hunched back and lowered shoulders. Your posture must be stable and open. When seated, lean back in your chair. Do not cross your arms over your chest unless it's a strategic gesture. A person who physically occupies their space non-verbally asserts their right to occupy informational space and be the leader. Place your feet on the floor. Feel the support.
The moment of entry. When you enter a room, do not rush. Walk calmly. Pause briefly at the door to survey everyone before sitting down. This action says, "I have arrived. Everything that came before will wait now. I am beginning." Your body is the amplifier of your speech. If your body looks weak, your words will be light and empty, even if you are talking about brilliant things. The weight of your word begins with the weight of your presence. Learn to be a monument that cannot be moved. Your inner confidence must seep outward, making your body heavy and unshakable. The last, 7th secret is the effect of unexpected change. This is the key to ensuring your influence never becomes boring or predictable. Most people think that being authentic, meaning being yourself, means being the same in every situation. They are either always very serious or always joking. This makes them predictable. And predictability, as we have said, is the greatest enemy of influence and power. If you are easy to figure out, you are easy to manipulate, and your word loses its effect. Machiavelli urged rulers to be flexible and to change their persona depending on what the moment demanded.
He advised being simultaneously like a lion, a symbol of strength and might, and a fox, a symbol of cunning and intelligence. He wrote that one must know how to use force, but if force is insufficient, then resort to cunning. For us, this means your word becomes heavy and effective only when you know how to change your mask and your tone. You must be able to create contrast. If you are usually very reserved, calm, and focused, a subtle, well-placed joke or a calm smile at the right moment creates an effect of humanity. This contrast instantly wins people over, making you approachable but not weak. Conversely, if you are typically sociable, friendly, and open, a sudden, instantaneous switch to a cold, very serious tone when discussing an important decision amplifies the significance of what you are saying. This contrast is your tool that shocks and commands attention. People expect one thing from you, and you, consciously, give them another. Use the magic door. When you transition from a small, empty conversation to a truly important, serious topic, don't do it smoothly. Create a mental switch for everyone present.
You can do this by sitting up straight, changing your speaking speed, pausing briefly, and lowering the pitch of your voice. This non-verbally screams, "The friendly part is over. We are talking business now. Attention." You must manage people's expectations. Make your seriousness an event, not a constant state. When you control when and how people see your working iron mask, your emergence from the shadows will always be influential. Don't try to be the same. Be adaptive. Your word is not just your voice, it is also the context in which it is heard. And only you decide when that context should become deadly serious and when it should be relaxed to create the necessary contrast. We have covered all 7 strategic secrets, which relate not to your volume, but to your strategy. You have learned how to make your silence powerful, your personality mysterious, and your word law. Here is a brief recap. 1. The principle of the scarce word. Silence is currency. Do not waste it. 2. Calculated opaqueness. Create a mystery that draws attention. 3. The threat of detachment. Freedom from the fear of loss makes you invulnerable. 4. The mirror of deep understanding. Understand the other person's pain to gain their trust. 5. Choosing the battlefield. Be obsessed with the result, not with being right. 6. Visual control. Command your body to make your presence weighty. 7. The effect of unexpected change. Do not be predictable. Use contrast to amplify your influence. Remember, people who constantly talk have no weight. People who are afraid to lose have no freedom. People who are obsessed with being right never achieve results. The true masters of the game do not use these rules as tricks. They live by these 7 principles, making them a part of their second self. They do not shout to be heard. They build such authority that when they finally speak, the whole room falls silent because they know what is about to be said matters and will change the rules of the game. Now you know their secret, and now you are responsible for how you will use this knowledge. But knowledge itself is nothing. Action is everything. You can forget this lesson in an hour, or you can start acting right now. Right now, choose one of these 7 secrets, just one, and promise yourself to implement it in your life in the next 24 hours.
Focus only on it. Start practicing the principle of the scarce word or the threat of detachment. Take your first step toward gaining genuine weight in any room. Subscribe to learn more about how to control a game that others don't even see.